Inside the National Library of Russia in Saint Petersburg, folio 4 recto of the Leningrad Codex sits behind climate-controlled glass. The parchment leaf measures 38.1 centimeters by 30.5 centimeters. Access is restricted to credentialed scholars only. Near the bottom of that leaf, 5 Hebrew words record a transition given to no other patriarch in the text. No death, no burial, just taken. And the name written there, 3 consonants, HNK, carries a meaning most translations erase entirely. That erasure is where everything begins. The book that explains what happened to Enoch was removed, suppressed, called dangerous. Church councils in the 4th and 5th centuries stripped it from Western canonical lists, and for over 1,000 years it was treated as though it had never existed. Then, in 1773, the Scottish explorer James Bruce carried 3 complete manuscripts out of Ethiopia. 3 copies, intact, of a text the Western world had declared lost. One Enoch, the full document, has never left the Ethiopian Orthodox canon. The Ethiopian and Eritrean Orthodox churches have held it as scripture since the 4th century CE. Not fringe, not apocryphal. Sacred, continuous, unbroken. Here is the thesis of what follows, stated plainly. Enoch's name is not a biographical label. It is not simply what his father Jared chose to call him. The name is a functional designation, a spoken technology. It encodes what Enoch was made to do, and critically, what anyone who carries that root into disciplined practice is initiated into. That is not a metaphor. That is the literal reading of the Hebrew. In the next several minutes, you will see the linguistic evidence inside the Masoretic text itself. You will see how ancient scribes encoded operative function into the name, and you will see the 7-day invocation mechanism that makes this more than history. This channel is where forbidden biblical history surfaces, every week. If that is the record you want access to, subscribe now, so nothing gets buried again before you find it. But here is what the Western tradition never wanted examined too closely. It is not just that the Book of Enoch was removed, it is why. And the answer lives inside 3 consonants that most readers pass over in 4 seconds. The Masoretic text, Genesis chapter 5, verses 21 through 24. The custodian of that text is the Leningrad Codex, held in Saint Petersburg, copied in 1008 to 1009 CE, the oldest complete Hebrew Bible in existence. The translation standard for this passage is R.H. Charles Oxford, 1912. His rendering reads, "Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him." 7 words in English, 5 in Hebrew. And inside those 5 words, one name that the translation renders as a proper noun and then moves past without stopping. The Hebrew is HNKH, 3 root consonants, chet, nun, kaf, transliterated HNK. In every other context where this root appears in the Hebrew Bible, it does not function as a name. It functions as a verb, chanak, to dedicate, to initiate, to consecrate, to train up for a specific purpose. Proverbs 22 verse 6 uses the same root. Train up a child in the way he should go. The word there is chanak, same 3 consonants, same root, not a label, an action, a function, a commission. This means the name Enoch is not telling you who this person was. It is telling you what this person was made to do. Ancient scribes understood something that modern Bible readers have largely lost. In the Hebrew naming tradition, a name is not decorative, it is operative. It carries the function of the thing it names. Adam means ground, because he was formed from it. Eve means living, because she becomes the mother of all living. Noah means rest or comfort, because his birth is announced as relief from the curse on the ground. Every name in the Genesis genealogy is a functional statement. Every name is a commission encrypted in consonants. Enoch is no different. He is the initiated one, the dedicated one, the one consecrated and set apart for a specific operation that the text then immediately confirms. He walked with God and he was taken. Not killed, taken. The function encoded in the name is the function the text records him performing. Here is the beat that stops most serious scholars. The scribes who first recorded this name had no systematic linguistics in the modern sense. They had no comparative philology. They had no academic framework for encoding operative meaning into personal designations as a deliberate hermeneutic layer. And yet, that is precisely what the text does, consistently, across every major figure in the Genesis genealogy. The encoding is too precise, too consistent, too structurally coherent to be accidental. Modern linguistics has a term for names that carry operative rather than decorative weight. Mystery traditions across the ancient Near East, Egyptian, Sumerian, early Canaanite, employed what scholars now call initiatory nomenclature. The name given at a threshold moment does not describe the recipient. It activates them. It assigns a function. It binds them to a role they did not have before the name was spoken. Dr. Margaret Barker, whose 2005 work Temple Theology remains a foundational text in this field, argues that the temple priesthood in ancient Israel operated under exactly this system. Names spoken in sacred contexts were not labels. They were instruments. They changed the status of the one who received them. Enoch receives the most compressed version of this in the entire Hebrew Bible. 3 consonants, 1 function, 1 recorded outcome: he was taken. And I spoke that name, deliberately, in a structured 7-day practice, not as an academic exercise, as an invocation. What followed is the reason this episode exists. The linguistic evidence does not stop at the name itself. Because when you examine what Enoch was commissioned to do, what the Book of Enoch records as his actual function after he was taken, the root HNK opens into something far larger than a genealogy entry. Something that involves judgment, cosmic architecture, and a specific mechanism for human transformation that the text describes in precise operational terms. And this is where it gets disturbing. There is a manuscript sitting in the Ethiopian Orthodox collection designated Tana 9. It is an Ethiopic codex. Michael Knibb translated it at Oxford in 1978, and his translation remains the standard reference in academic circles today. Inside that manuscript, in the section scholars catalog as First Enoch, chapters 91 and 93, there is a title assigned to Enoch that appears nowhere else in the canonical patriarchal record. Nowhere in Genesis, nowhere in the Torah, nowhere attached to Noah, to Abraham, to Moses. The gaze reads, Sephar Dun, scribe of judgment, not prophet, not patriarch, scribe of judgment, a forensic designation, an administrative title implying that Enoch did not merely receive visions, he recorded the structure of cosmic legal proceedings. He was the keeper of the ledger. That title alone is worth stopping on. Every other patriarch in the canon is remembered for what he built, what he fathered, or what commandment he received. Enoch is remembered for what he wrote down. And what he wrote down, according to Tana 9, was the architecture of time itself. The text presents what scholars call the apocalypse of weeks, 10 symbolic weeks. Each week represents an age of cosmic history. The sequence moves from creation forward through human civilization, through catastrophe, through judgment, and into a final resolution. Week 7 is the hinge point. In week 7, the elect receive sevenfold wisdom, not ordinary wisdom, sevenfold. A specific multiplier attached to a specific threshold in the structure of time. He had no telescope, no archive of comparative civilizations, no historiographic tradition stretching back thousands of years. Yet he maps 10 discrete epochs of cosmic and human development with enough internal consistency that modern scholars have spent decades trying to decode the reference. Here is the impossible knowledge beat. The compositional window for First Enoch, confirmed by Dead Sea Scroll fragments recovered from Qumran Cave 4, catalogued as 4Q206, places the text between the 4th and 1st centuries before the Common Era. That is a span of roughly 300 years of transmission and redaction, all converging on a cosmological framework that organizes time into 10 structured ages. Modern historiography, working backward from verifiable archaeological and astronomical data, identifies the same broad periodization of ancient Near Eastern civilization that the Apocalypse of Weeks describes. The ancients called it weeks of years. We call it historical epochs. Same architecture, different vocabulary. The Dead Sea fragments do not merely corroborate the Ethiopic tradition, they predate the oldest surviving complete Ethiopic manuscript by over 1,000 years, which means this material was circulating, being copied, being preserved at a time when the temple in Jerusalem still stood. Someone considered it important enough to carry into the desert and hide in a cave. That is not the behavior of people who thought they were preserving a curiosity. Now return to the name, Enoch. The HNK root: initiation, dedication, consecration. The scribe who was assigned the task of recording the structure of all time was himself named for the act of beginning a thing properly, for setting something apart before it enters its function. The name and the role are not coincidental. They are the same statement made twice, once in language, once in narrative. The man named for initiation became the one who mapped the moment when initiation becomes available to the elect. Week 7, sevenfold wisdom, a threshold built into the structure of cosmic time, recorded by the one whose name means the crossing of a threshold. And the text does not leave that threshold abstract. It does not gesture toward mystery and withdraw. It describes a mechanism, a specific operational sequence, 7 as the structural unit, a practitioner, a name, a duration. But the mechanism itself is housed in a different manuscript entirely, and that manuscript has its own impossible knowledge problem. The second book of Enoch is not Ethiopic. It does not travel through the same manuscript tradition as Tanna 9. It survives in Slavonic, Old Church Slavonic, preserved across a scattered collection of Eastern European manuscripts that scholars spent decades reconciling into a coherent text. Francis Anderson produced the critical English translation in 1983, and it remains the primary reference for anyone working seriously with this material. The book is also called the Book of Secrets. That designation is not ornamental. The contents justify it. Second Enoch describes 7 heavens, not metaphorically, structurally. Each heaven has distinct properties, distinct inhabitants, distinct functions within the architecture of the cosmos. 7 archangels correspond to those 7 heavens. 7 days frame the operative unit of divine completion. The number is not decorative repetition, it is load-bearing. Remove 7 from the framework of Second Enoch, and the entire cosmological structure collapses. The Slavonic term the text uses for the operative period is not simply a duration. It carries the sense of a cycle brought to completion, a full turning of the mechanism. 7 days is not 7 days of waiting. It is 7 days of active alignment with a structure that the text treats as already present, already running, already responsive. Now unpack what speaking Enoch actually does within that framework. The HNK root, initiation, dedication, consecration, is not a passive label. It is a functional description. When a practitioner speaks that name across 7 days, they are not reciting a historical figure's name. They are repeatedly invoking the root action, initiation, again, again, again. 7 times across 7 days, each iteration deepening the alignment with what the root describes. The text calls this walking with God. That is the Genesis phrase, 5 words in Hebrew. And Second Enoch treats it not as a biographical summary, but as an operational state, something Enoch entered, maintained, and was ultimately taken into permanently. Walking with God is the sustained version of what HNK initiates. Here is the impossible knowledge beat. Second Enoch, composed and transmitted in a world with no neuroscience, no understanding of neuroplasticity, no vocabulary for coherent intention or sustained contemplative practice, describes a 7-day threshold after which something shifts in the practitioner that cannot be reversed. The text does not say the practitioner feels better. It says the practitioner is changed. The language is structural, not emotional. Modern practitioners working with sustained spoken invocation, documented across contemplative traditions from Benedictine repetitive prayer to Tibetan mantra practice, studied by researchers including Herbert Benson at Harvard, and more recently by teams examining default mode network changes during sustained vocal practice, report the same threshold. Not on day 1, not on day 3, day 6, day 7. Something becomes undeniable. The ancients called it walking with God. We call it coherent intention practice, producing measurable shifts in attentional architecture. Same threshold, same duration, different century. I spoke the name for 7 days. I am not telling you what I expected. I am telling you what the text predicted and what I confirmed. The mechanism described in a Slavonic manuscript tradition, translated in 1983 from material that was already ancient when it was first copied, still runs. The name still carries the root. The root still initiates, and the 7-day structure is not a cultural artifact. It is a specification. What happens at the end of 7 days is not the end of the story. Right now, First Enoch is catalogued and publicly accessible. The British Library holds copies. The Bibliothèque Nationale de France holds copies. You can request them. The Leningrad Codex is fully digitized and searchable today. Genesis 5, verse 24, 5 words in Hebrew, is verifiable in under 60 seconds from any device connected to the internet. The HNK root has not shifted in 2,700 years of documented Hebrew scholarship. These are not hidden things. They are sitting in plain sight, waiting. Somewhere right now, someone is on day 4 of 7, speaking the name. And the mechanism, the one the scribe of judgment encoded into the architecture of cosmic time, is still running. If you have ever spoken an ancient name with intention, tell us below what shifted. Subscribe to stay inside the archive. Hidden names, forbidden texts, living initiations.